Hey, how's it going, everybody? I'm putting this little video together, and in the background, rather than showing me, you don't want to look at me, I'll show the view out my window at sunset on this beautiful Bangkok evening. But I wanted to go over a few things. If you're watching this video, by the title, you're preparing to move over to Thailand. Bangkok is where I live, but many of these things will apply to Thailand or really anywhere in Southeast Asia dealing with things like heat. So that's the number one thing I'm going to go over is preparing for the heat and the rain. I don't really care if you're coming from Las Vegas. I'm a U.S. guy, so wherever it's hot in different parts of Australia or the U.K., yeah, it's a different kind of heat over here. And I bring up Las Vegas just because I've met a few people from the Valley, and they said, I thought I was going to not have any issue with Bangkok at all. I'm a Vegas guy, but yeah, this is just a different kind of heat. Again, I'm from San Diego. If I can deal with it, anybody can. I'm not trying to be one of these clickbaity type YouTube guys that, hey, it's crazy heat, don't even consider moving here, or on and on. To me, it's totally worth it, but you do need to prepare for it a little bit anyhow. Bring tons of sunscreen. You can get sunscreen over here. It's just more expensive. Maybe if you're not a huge sunscreen person, figure out what's going to work for you. You're not allergic to it, anything, but get the highest you can. The SPS 50, the waterproof, on and on. And I wear those, I don't know if they're called bucket hats, floppy hats, whatever they are. I have a couple of Adidas hats. My dad used to work at TaylorMade, so they were free, but pick up whatever you can, some good quality ones. Again, they have all that over here, but many of the, how do I put it? The top of the line products, if it's a more heavy Adidas or Nike hat, it's going to be 20 or 25 US dollars, where you might pick up that same hat for $6 at a discount store in the US. Ross or Marshalls. Yeah, pick up 2 or 3 of those. I have 3, and they go in the washer often. So I'll leave that up to you. Also, some good portable umbrellas. Samsonite, I brought one, and I immediately lost it, and now I'm just going through the different cheapy, I assume they're like Chinese umbrellas, and maybe if you're lucky, it'll last 20 uses and just falls apart. Where those Samsonites, they're pretty, or any kind of good brand. Again, Ross, Marshalls, anything that's small. I am a big advocate for walking around with at least a small backpack. It doesn't have to be a big, huge thing, but you keep your umbrella in there and some shower shoes. Oftentimes when you're walking up to the condo or your train, many people will be concerned about, well, does this street flood? I don't want to live on a street that floods. Everywhere in Bangkok floods when it rains 3 inches in 15 hours. I don't know if it rains 3 inches, but it sure seems like it does. So you're not going to escape going through a foot of water if that's at a train station or the bar you're meeting your buddies or your condo. It floods right out in front of my condo, and that's just a small price of doing business. But a good solution is to be walking around in your Nikes, whatever it is, and take them off, put those shower shoes on, and head on into the train. Not that big a deal. Also, load up on the dry fit. If it's shirts, shorts, once again, they have all that over here. But if you want a little bit quality Nike dry fit shirt, it's going to be way more expensive than abroad in the U.S. anyhow. I brought 3, I think, dry fit shirts I picked up at Costco. I think they were Nike, and they're still going strong after a couple hundred washes. Some of the dry fits you pick up over here for 200 baht, and I did it. They'll just kind of fall apart. Maybe after the 30th wash, the thread comes out or they just wear so thin. But it's pretty nice just for everyday wear to switch those shirts every time you come back to the condo. I mean, you do what you want to do, but I basically, every time I step foot back into my condo, I take a 5 or 10 second shower and I change my clothes. So dry fit underwear, that's also high on my list. And I had been over here on enough visits that I was smart enough to bring a couple dozen brand new pair, and that's worked out well. I just did wash right now, and I probably hung up, I don't even know, 15 pair of underwear. I'm just about keeping comfortable. The other thing I would recommend is start walking if you're in the U.S. or wherever you're coming from. If you're moving over to Thailand, and in my case, I've pretty much driven a car every day since I was 16 years old. Now, I was a mailman, so no shortage of walking in my past. I enjoy it. I didn't as much enjoy carrying 20 pounds of mail up and down the street, especially in the rain, but that didn't happen that often in San Diego, so no complaints. But I still love getting out and walking around my new hometown, and today I'm taking a camera with me and hopefully showing some folks that might consider checking out that street and whatnot. But just daily living, even if you're not out making YouTube videos, you're probably not going to have a car. You're probably not going to have a motorbike when you first come over here for a number of months. I've lived in Bangkok now in the city over 2 years, and I'm in no hurry to get a motorbike. It's just a little chaotic, and I'm oftentimes out hanging out at a pub and jumping on my motorbike after even just 2 pints. Probably not a good idea. If the rare instance there was an accident, it's just not worth it when sitting on the back of a motor taxi is $1 or splurging on a cab for $3 whole US. It's just not worth it to me. But anyhow, you're going to do a lot of walking. So if you're in your 60s or whatever the case is, and you've never even walked that half a mile to the store and all, mix it in. I'm not trying to tell anybody how to live their life, but you don't want to never have walked in your life, basically, and expect to come over to Bangkok and live 3/4 of a mile from the train to save $100. And yeah, that won't be an issue. It will be an issue, especially when it's 100 degrees and 3 or 4 months out of the year it rains almost every day. So just kind of ease yourself into it over in your home country in weather that you're used to. And then when you come over here, it won't be as big a shock. I mean, I carried mail every day for whatever it was, 33 years, and it was still kind of a kick in the pants not having a car and walking everywhere in Bangkok. Again, I enjoy it, but it was a definite learning curve. Another thing, and I've mentioned some of these things in other tip videos, I guess, on moving over, but they're worth repeating. And so I apologize if you're catching some information I've already thrown out, but this might be the first video of mine you're watching. If so, I appreciate it. Maybe consider subscribing for more looks and talks around Bangkok. But put some apps on your phone at home and get them working with your friends and family. Not trying to do that, from the other side of the world. The main app you're going to use in Thailand is Line, Line. It works just like WhatsApp. It's basically an internet app. You can make phone calls, text, group chats, on and on. Get that going with your loved ones back home. They're probably never heard of Line. They're going to say, well, I have WhatsApp. Let's talk on WhatsApp. And that's fine. But I'll have people call me on WhatsApp and miss the notification. And maybe that's my fault. It doesn't, like on my phone, it doesn't flash up and say, hey, somebody called you online. It just kind of makes a beep. And then I have to go look at, or WhatsApp, I have to go look at WhatsApp and see who called me. But Line, I'm looking at that every hour, if not more, that I'm awake. So make your life easy. And if your friends and family, they don't know how to use WhatsApp anyhow, just put Line on their phone and get it working at home. And then it'll be up to you. More than likely, when you come to Thailand, you're going to get a Thai phone. I mean, I'll say 99% of people will. And you'll have to switch that line over to your Thai phone. But it'll be an easier adjustment because all your friends and family, they already will know how to use Line, and it's just a matter of switching from US, Canadian, Australian phone, whatever it is, over to your Thai phone. The other apps you'll want to put on are Grab and Bolt. They're just ride sharing apps in the US, anyhow, similar to, oh, somebody's calling me there, to Uber and Lyft. You might want to even use Grab the second you get here at the airport. I forget, is it level 3 at Suvarnabhumi? I'm not sure. There's a definite pickup point. I just know how to automatically go there. I'm not sure what level it's on. Just do a quick Google on that. Bolt, it's a little bit cheaper than Grab, but I don't know. I just started with Grab way back in the day, and at the time, Bolt, this was years ago, you had to use cash. Grab allowed me to store my US credit card. Bolt does that today, so I'll switch back and forth, but I'm a Grab guy. The other thing you want to get used to is Wi-Fi calling. It's not rocket science, but you do need to learn your phone. Again, this is information for folks that are maybe not super tech savvy. Other people will be, what's he talking about? Wi-Fi calling is easy. But it can be a little complicated in the case of, how do I put it? If you do a Wi-Fi call, yet there's a setting on there that if the Wi-Fi signal drops, switch over to the normal phone. That happened to me way back in the day, and I got burned. I'm talking whatever it was, 10, 12 years ago. I was on a Wi-Fi call, and it was a long call, talking to a buddy back home and all. I don't know, we must have talked an hour. And somewhere along the line, early in the call, it dropped from Wi-Fi and went to roaming. And either he got or I got, I forget. Somebody got like a $29 bill just for that one phone call or whatever the case was, just because the Wi-Fi dropped. Today, I keep my US phone at home. I also have a Thai phone. We'll get into that in a minute. But I keep that phone set at home. I have data roaming turned off. It's just on Wi-Fi on my home network. I just use it like a computer, and it kind of works out because I'm 12 hours difference here in Bangkok from the East Coast of the U.S. So it's easy. If it's noon here, it's midnight in New York City, and it's 9 p.m. In California. To just leave that phone at home and talk to people when they're awake during those times. But you'll have to make that decision. Another tip I'll throw out is load up at the discount stores. Again, I'm from the U.S., so that's all I know. I was just in Australia, and I saw TJ Maxx in Melbourne, and yeah, I hit that place pretty hard. I mean, we have actually, I think it was TK Maxx in Australia. It was the same logo, same everything. In the U.S., it's TJ Maxx. In Melbourne, it was TK Maxx. And yeah, it was the exact same store, but for whatever reason, there's another business called TJ Maxx or something. I don't know. But you can find closeout items in there. It's going to be last year's color or model or whatever. But if it's a black pair of dry fit Adidas shorts for $10 US, get 3 pair if you can, because once again, you're going to have to go to the Adidas store here in Bangkok, and twice a year they'll have sales. They have like the mid-year sale, and then they have the Christmas sales. Everywhere in the world has Christmas sales, but it's not like the U.S. where 90% of the time, whatever I bought was because it was on sale. Over here, not so much. So, the regular price on those shorts might be whatever it is in Thai baht, which is equal to $45 US. And I'm making these figures up. Also, if you're in one of those stores and you find a really nice pair of pants, but maybe they're 2 inches too long, buy them. Bring them over here and get them tailored for next to nothing. I'll say you can hem those pants. Well, I know a place to go for less than $2 US, but even going into a fancy tailor shop, it'll probably be $5. And I already mentioned the dry fit a couple of times. Yeah, that's going to kind of be your friend. I mean, even T-shirts. The heavier, I used to always wear the, I don't even know what they're called, the heaviest kind of T-shirts, beefy tees or something. It's like, this is a nice sturdy T-shirt and it's going to last a long time. Well, I brought some of those over here, almost brand new, and I don't think I've ever put them on. I mean, the lighter t-shirts, the real thin, soft kind, and the dry fit, that's the way to go. And bring a ton of those. I mean, go load up wherever it is, Costco and whatnot. You're going to change. You're going to change often. I probably change my clothes at least twice a day, sometimes 3 times a day. I'm out walking around in the Bangkok heat from noon till 3. You come back just kind of drenched and all, and those clothes go straight into the washer. Nice 10-second cool down shower, and put on a new set of shorts and t-shirts, and then maybe a third set of clothes for the evening if it's a nice shirt for going out and all. So that's on the discount stores. I'm looking at my notes here quickly. Also, if you wear size 14 shoes or 44-inch shorts, those things are going to be harder to come by. I'm not saying you need to bring 4 pair of brand new shoes. I mean, for one thing, you're going to take trips maybe back home or to other places. I know you can get large shoes in Australia. I was just in Australia. I just wear a size 10, so it's not a problem for me. I will say, though, the larger shoes, they're going to be an issue. My one buddy, he does go back to Australia often, and he has to get his shoes there. They're just not here, and I'm not sure what size he wears, but it's pretty big. And even if you do find them here, the selection's going to be different. And as far as a larger Western waistband of, say, 44 inches, that's going to be near impossible to find over here. I was just kind of breezing through the Levi's store, and I didn't see anything over a 34-inch waist. I asked her, I'm either a 34 or 36. I kind of fluctuate. I think I'm a 34 right now, but I asked her, can we order those Levi's? And she was kind of confused, like, what do you want? They're all right here. And okay, but if you wear larger size pants, just be prepared. Getting into prescriptions, I don't pretend to have all the knowledge on the legalities as far as bringing over opioids or controlled substances. I don't know. You're going to have to do your research on that. I would probably call Bumrungrad Hospital or Samiti J, a large Western hospital. They'll speak English. They'll explain what the exact rules are for bringing medicine into Thailand and all. Yeah, don't go by me or some guy online saying, oh, yeah, it's fine. Bring all the Vicodin or Oxycontin, you have, and it's not going to be an issue. I would be very careful with that. But basic things, if it's statins or even those things, I would try to bring as much as you can. I mean, a lot of our doctors are sympathetic to the situation. We're moving overseas, and different prescriptions might be more costly. And you never know. If you have a good working environment with that person, they might write you out a year's worth of prescriptions and run down to Walmart or whatever it is, and for $50, you have a year's worth. That might cost 50 US for a month over here. I don't know. I'm not a big prescription guy, but still, I would print out the prescription so there's no issue if they pull you aside at the airport. I would certainly keep them in the bottle with your name on them and all that. You just don't want Ziploc baggies of pills, although I did that, vitamins and all. So again, I'm overthinking a little bit. I'm just not wanting anybody to have any kind of hassles and all. So just keep it simple. Keep them in the bottles with your name on it. Print out the prescription from your doctor, and it shouldn't be an issue. But do the research on the trickier drugs. I have no idea. The other thing you need to understand is how your insurance, if your insurance from abroad is going to work over here. I'm a retired federal worker, and I'm lucky that I have Blue Cross insurance, and it covers me here in Thailand. However, I thought I knew how it was going to work, but even some of the people I spoke with at Blue Cross, they didn't really know how it was going to work. They gave me some bad intel, and then I figured it out when I was here. Basically, There are companies that are going to handle the overseas details for even a large outfit like Blue Cross. And I don't know what it's called. It just switched. One company loses the contract and another one picks it up. So when you want to go to the doctor here in Thailand, you need to call this company on behalf of Blue Cross, and they'll get you what's called a GOB, a guaranteed a benefit, and everybody's on the same page as to what you're going to pay. And you go into the hospital, and then even then, 2 months later, you might get another small bill from Bumrungrad. Basically, your insurance did not pay for this $6. It's been as high as $70 for me. So you just have to roll with the flow. You'll get a hold of your insurance company, and this has taken me about 2 years to finally figure out how it's going to work, because silly me, I figured if I got a guarantee of benefit from my insurance company, and this probably would work the same way for an Australian or UK insurance company. Anyhow, if everybody's on the same page that procedure is supposed to cost whatever it is, $100, you go in, you pay your 100 in Thai baht, of course, and then 2 months later, the hospital says, well, hey, you owe $12.50 more in Thai baht. The first reaction is going to be, well, what are you talking about? I had a GOB, it's supposed to be $100. You get a hold of your insurance company. They say, well, get a hold of the hospital. They told us it was supposed to be $100, and it's their problem. The hospital says, well, Blue Cross didn't pay for 2 of the 12 things we billed, so you have to pay it. And you kind of do. I don't want to break ties with one of the better hospitals in Southeast Asia, so you pay the money. Now, there are, what is the word? There is a system in my case, at Blue Cross to appeal. That's the word. Basically, you lay out your scenario. I got a guarantee of benefit for this procedure for $100. They ended up charging me another $12. Here's all the receipts. Here's the situation. And then Blue Cross will give you the $12 back. It just appeal it. It's a little bit of a hassle, but it seems to happen that way more than 50% of the time over here in Bangkok anyhow, and that's at one of the finer hospitals. Just remember, somebody kind of was starting to get a little upset with me because I kept kind of asking the same question in different ways. And she goes, look, you seem like a nice person, but you're not understanding. Your insurance follows you. I kept saying, I don't know what I was saying, something along the lines of, how can I go to a doctor in Bangkok and the entire bill is $90 and my copay is $50. If I were to go to that same type of doctor in California, the bill would be $3,000 and my copay the exact same, $50. And it just didn't make sense to me, but that's how it works. The Blue Cross, and I'm sure different insurances abroad, they don't care where you go to the doctor. You can go to the Mayo Clinic in the United States. It's $10,000 or whatever to see the doctor, and your copay is $50. Or you can go to Bumrungrad, which is a fine hospital. I think they're even affiliated with the Mayo Clinic. And if you did not have insurance at all, it would be a $90 or $100 bill, and your copay is still that same $50. The insurance, it's really not there to just go see the doctor. You can just do that cash. It's heart attacks and operations and terrible accidents. Even in Thailand, that's going to ring up to, hundreds of thousands of dollars. So I'm very glad I have that insurance in effect. Now, another thing you might want to prepare for, or at least think about, are side trips. I was in a big hurry when I moved over, and today you get 60 days from most countries on arrival, visa exempt. You just roll into the country, you get 60. It's a pretty easy procedure to get another 30 days. But it is a procedure. You need to And in the case of Bangkok, you don't go to the main immigration, Chiang Watana. I believe it's at Lexi. And I haven't did an extension in forever, so it may have even moved. But they keep putting it in a different shopping center. It's almost like, these are like rookies. They're just getting an extension. They're not coming to the main immigration and all. So let's put them in a shopping mall and make it all very clear. Not that heading to immigration is unclear, but this getting an extension, it's a huge sign that says step 1, come here, step 2, come here, that kind of thing. But you do need to get some Thai passport size photos. They're different than the US and all, so don't waste a lot of money at Costco making 50 passport pictures if you're in need of pictures for immigration paperwork and all. They're a different size over here. They are probably the same size as the UK and Australia. I don't know. I just can speak to the United States. But anyhow, consider some side trips. Roll into town for 60-day stamp and start your business. Maybe get that bank account opened. Maybe hit a couple of Airbnbs in different neighborhoods and all. Just don't be in a big rush. I arrived on a 30-day visa exempt. I could have got a 60-day tourist visa and all, but I didn't. I kind of knew where I wanted to live, and I'd been here 6 times or whatever, so I thought I knew what was going on, and I ended up rushing into signing a lease up in On Newt. And On Newt's a fine place to live, but it was a little boring for me. Past 9 p.m., there's really just one little place to hang out over there, Cheap Charlie's and all on Soy 50. Even the grocery stores and all just closed up tight at 10 p.m., where I was down here in the Phrom Phong area all the time. Had I lived up in On Newt, say Airbnb for 2-3 months, whatever the case is, and I'm sure I would not have signed that lease. I probably would have got a lease down here in Phrom Phong. So take your time, maybe plan some side trips. There are plenty of places to go for less than $100 round trip, sometimes $50 or $60 round trip if it's Cambodia, Kuala Lumpur in Malaysia, Georgetown in Malaysia is great. You need to do a little bit of research on, say you want to go to Vietnam and you're from the US. It's a little trickier. I want to say Australians and people from the UK can just roll into Vietnam. Not so much for people from the US. You need to apply for a visa online, and one time it took me 3 or 4 days. One time it took me 11 days because they denied me the first time, and they said I did something wrong or whatever. I basically did it all the exact same way because I was pretty sure I did it correct, and it was approved the second time. And yes, they charged me whatever it was in Viet Dong at $30 or something twice. But that's just how it goes. But maybe prepare some side trips, or at least consider making a side trip, coming back and getting another 60-day stamp. Buy yourself a little bit of time if you don't want to deal with going and getting that 30-day extension. Now, another tip or something to prepare for, and I've mentioned this in other videos as well because it's kind of important, extend the dates on everything. If it's your passport, your driver's license, credit cards, do what you have to do. Passports, I know they're expensive now. I think my first passport was like $40 US, and it was $90 if you wanted it within a week. And I don't know what it is now. I think it's over $200 if you get it expressed. But don't get it expressed. Just get it renewed. Passports are 10 years. So let's say you're 6 years into a 10-year passport. You'll have to make the decision, but I would throw that passport in some water or something. Hey, my passport's destroyed, and get a new one, get a fresh 10 years. I have never renewed my passport here in Bangkok. I see the people standing out in front of the embassy, 200 people deep. It doesn't look fun. I don't want to do it. So, luckily, my passport had just renewed. So when I rolled into Bangkok, I think I still had a little over 9 years or a little under 9 years. So I'm good. But if you're staring at your passport and it's going to expire in the next 2 years, I'd get a fresh one rather than dealing with it here or trying to time it. I know I'm going to go back before that 2 year mark, so I'll get my passport in the United States. Maybe, or maybe things will be going in the United States. I used to deliver mail, and I used to have people standing at the mailbox every day like, man, my trip's in 13 days, has my passport here yet? Is it here? Is it here? It's been 6 weeks. I've seen it all. I've seen people sweating. So just don't expect to take a 2 week trip back to the United States and I'm going to get a fresh passport, and driver's license is easy, but I'll leave that up to you. But passports can be a hassle. Now, as far as driver's license, I don't know the exact rules. I see people online talking about rolling into the Philippines and you're allowed to use your California or driver's license from abroad for 6 months. I don't think that is the rule here. I think you're supposed to legally drive, have the Thai driver's license right off the bat. But again, I'm not sure. Still, I keep my driver's license, in my case, Florida, active. And luckily, when I got my driver's license 2 years ago, I think they gave me, it was a long time, like 6 years on it, maybe 8 years. I don't know. But once again, if you're staring at your driver's license and it's going to expire in a year and a half, you might not go back to the U.S. in that year and a half. I kind of thought I'd probably go back every year. Well, I'm going on over 2 years and I haven't gone back yet. I might soon, but I may not. So, the longer those things are just still kind of legal and waiting for me when I pop into LAX and grab a rental card. The other thing are credit cards. Take a look at all your credit cards and, do what you have to do, a little white lie, whatever it is, to get all fresh cards that are good for 6 years or however long the credit cards are good for. Some of mine are 4 years, some are 6 years. Just look at them all, and if you have 2 or 3, it's not that big a deal. I have 25 credit cards. I'm a miles and points guy. I'm always working different American Airlines cards, or these cards for the lounge, or these cards for those points and all. Now, I haven't crossed the Pacific Ocean in less than business or first class yet, so it's working for me. And before you say my credit must be horrible with all those credit cards, it's 825. So, there are ways to get those credit cards and use them and get the points and keep your credit high. And, I don't owe anything on those credit cards. They just keep graciously giving me points to travel on Japan first class. So I'll do it. But you will have a larger hassle with all those credit cards. Sometimes one will get compromised. It happened in the United States as well. Normally it's a card I haven't touched for, well, you have to touch them all. You have to, do things a little silly, like when you have that many credit cards, you need to go to the gas station and use 10 credit cards for $5 each just to have a charge on each card at least every 6 months or something, or they'll just shut it down. They'll just send you a letter saying, hey, due to inactivity, we've closed your whatever it is, American Airlines free credit card that is basically worthless to me other than buying $5 of gas on it and keeping those American Airlines points alive for another, say, 24 months or whatever the rules are. Every program is different, 24, 36, and the health situation kind of changed everything. They kind of said, okay, points aren't going to expire for 4 years and on and on. But they do expire. You can't just earn 80,000 points, say American points, and then just ignore American for 3 or 4 years. Those points are going to go away, and they're not real, how do I say it? They're not real helpful on, hey, those points are expiring in 1 month. What are we going to do here? You just look at it, and they're gone. Now, that's never happened to me, but don't let it happen to you. Anyhow, extend those credit cards, and other companies are not as gracious to send you cards overseas. I've had good luck with Chase. Oh, getting back to the card that was compromised. It was a card I never used other than I kept it alive. And somebody tried to pump gas with that number in another country. I forget where it was. I don't even know, Pakistan or something. So people will say, well, I'm never going to use my credit cards in Bangkok. They're going to steal the number, or on and on and on. I use my credit card every day here in Thailand, and it hasn't been an issue. The issue I had was some guy in Pakistan from a card I've never used in Thailand. I used it online. I think I paid my T-Mobile cell phone with 15 different credit cards last year or something. I don't know. So it's all about, these numbers are floating around out there on the web. It's not, you got to get that old school thinking out of your head of, they're sliding my credit card and I want that piece of carbon paper because somebody's going to find the carbon paper and they'll have my credit card and all. Where all that's true, these cards are all digital and on and on and on. And still, those numbers are floating around online. Obviously, somebody on the black web or whatever it's called got a hold of my my number in Pakistan. So I'm not going to worry about that so much. However, when that does happen, they're going to close the account and okay, we need to ship you another card. All right, well, I'm on an extended vacation to Thailand. That's what you have to say. You don't really want to get too much in the business of, well, U.S. Bank, I live in Thailand now. It's like, what's going on now? We have a Florida address on file. Yeah, keep it simple. Keep it with your mom's address or whatever it is. I know a lot of people like to break ties entirely and here's my address in Thailand. I'm a Thailand guy, yet I'm entitled to a U.S. credit card and all. That just makes things a little bit more difficult. Again, that's your decision, but I keep ties to the U.S. So she said, well, that card's going to be sent to Florida. Okay, can we intercept that and get it sent over here, DHL, UPS, whatever the case is? And yeah, no problem. It's here in 2 days. Now, that happened twice with Chase cards. One demagnetized and one was compromised. And the same with my Navy Federal ATM card. Something was wrong. I think it kind of got demagnetized. It seemed to, I didn't use it often, but I did rely on that card for other countries. Arrive in Australia, hit the Navy Federal at the ATM machine. They only take 1%, take out 100 US. They charge you $1. Usually you're going to take out more, but you know what I'm saying. And then they even pay back $10 a month. I know it's not as good as the Charles Schwab. We pay back all the ATM fees and on, but I don't know. I'm starting to see reports online of Charlie Schwab shutting people down in Mexico and Panama that all they do is put their Social Security check in that account. They live in Panama. It takes 3 trips to the ATM to drain that account down to whatever it is, leaving $50 in it to keep it alive. And they rinse and repeat the next month, and they do that for 5 years straight. I personally think at some point Charlie Schwab's going to say, you've cost us whatever the number is, $300-400 in ATM fees over the last number of years, and you have zero money in this Charles Schwab account. So I don't know. They're a business. They're in business to make money. So if you plan on keeping several $100,000 or more probably in that Charles Schwab account, yeah, you can probably rely on getting those ATM fees returned to you. If you plan on just having a very small pension check put into that account and draining it down to zero each month, I would certainly have a backup plan. And my backup plans, and I've had the Charles Schwab account. I closed it for whatever reason years ago, but and the only reason I got it was there was some kind of promotion, like I forget. It was like put 100,000 in a Charles Schwab account and get 50,000 American airline miles. So I did that, and then I put it right back in Fidelity where it came from. But whatever. Keep all that in mind. Have backup plans. Have backup banks. I have ATM cards from 3 banks: Chase, Navy Federal, and another bank. And Chase credit card is my number one, but I have backups. If for some reason, I don't know what the reason would be, I guess my Chase card could stop working just like my Navy Federal did. And on this trip, I was not smart enough. I've never made that mistake since, to not carry a backup ATM card. Well, I did have my Thai ATM card, but what happened was I arrived in Bali, standard operating. I went to take out a few $100s in Indonesian money, and my card didn't work, the Navy Federal. I could have used the Thai bank account, but to be honest, I never have abroad. I've since gone into the branch and they're like, yeah, here's the fees. Now they're not refunding any fees back to you like Charles Schwab or anything, but at least you can get money. So I was stuck in Bali for, luckily it was only 5 days, 6 days, and I had to use US credit cards everywhere. But you can't rent a surfboard at the beach with a credit card, and I certainly wasn't taking a cash advance on my credit card. But somehow I made it work. I had about $100 in, or the equivalent in Thai baht. So I just changed that Thai baht into Indonesian money, and off you go. But these days, I'm always traveling with at least 2 ATM cards. Normally it's my Thai bank account and the Navy Federal. But just keep that in mind. Navy Federal was pretty good at getting me that card. Same deal. Well, your home of record is Florida, so that's automatically where your new ATM card is going to go. However, we can ship it overseas. I apologize. It's going to be 12 US dollars. No problem. I gladly paid the 12 bucks and it showed up. DHL, I believe. DHL and UPS are going to be the main ways to get your cards here. And I don't want to talk down about Thailand ever, but things work a little bit different over here. 3 express items I've had sent here. 2 of them, you kind of have to keep on top of them as far as the tracking. 2 of them showed they arrive out for delivery, let's say Monday afternoon. Okay, Monday evening, it's not here. Tuesday, it's not here. Late Tuesday afternoon, you give a call to Chase, in this case. Chase called FedEx. And this FedEx, I don't remember. I think this FedEx was actually delivered by DHL. I'm not sure. But anyhow, somebody called somebody, and they called Bangkok. And the Bangkok FedEx people said, well, the driver said they could not find your building. Now, my building has hundreds of units. It's not hard to find my building. And it was delivered 1 hour later. So you do have to keep track of all those tracking numbers and all. It's not that big a deal. And the bottom line is just get all fresh credit cards. Or if you're going to get that new fancy credit card, which allows lounge access and all, get that before you move over here rather than I'll get it and have it sent over here. It's not impossible. It's just an extra little bit of hassle. I do have some credit card links. I'm not heavily pushing them. They are in my video descriptions of different travel cards I use. Now, full disclosure, I get a little bit of points if I send them a customer and the customer is approved and puts whatever the terms are, say spend $3,000 in 90 days and then you get XYZ Chase Ultimate Rewards points. You know, I will put a link in this video description on earning airline miles through credit cards. It's a tricky hobby. You have to be disciplined. You have to do crazy things like pay your credit card every week and all, but I'll lay it out for you. I'll lay it out, you know, how this mailman would apply for 3 credit cards in one day and get the points and pay it all off, you know, on one huge expense. If it's putting a roof on your house or whatever it is, that's bad enough that you have to pay for that, but you might as well get a free round trip in business class to Southeast Asia while you're at it. So check out that video. Again, I'll link it down there, but I'm not pushing anybody into a credit card they don't need. But if you're going to get the credit card anyhow, I really appreciate you using my link and giving me 10,000 points. That doesn't cost you anything. I just get that from Chase, so I really appreciate it. Let's talk about cell phones for a minute. This is kind of a delicate topic. Whenever I'll say in a video, I keep my US cell phone over here, not in an unfriendly way. You're going to get a lot of comments on, well, that's a waste of money. You should be using Google Voice or something like the Magic Jack and on and on. Yes and no. It cost me $50, I think. I think I'm on the T-Mobile Magenta 50 plan, or maybe it's 55. I am also on a military plan. I was in the military in the 80s, and that was good enough for the young person I was speaking with. To be quite honest, I think that plan is more intended for active duty folks that maybe live in Japan or Europe and they're in the Army or U.S. Navy, and their cell phone on an American plan, an American T-Mobile plan, may not hit a U.S. cell tower for a number of years. I'm not sure what the exact rule is, but I've been told by T-Mobile and Verizon, yes, if your U.S. cell phone plan does not hit a U.S. cell phone tower, I believe one of them said in 1 year, we're going to start sending you notices that we're going to shut the phone down. I think T-Mobile said we're more 2 years. However, if you're on this military plan, we kind of let that slide. My cell phone, T-Mobile, is still working, and we're over 2 years. Now, I have hit a dozen countries, so I don't know if going to Australia and Tahiti, New Zealand, Hong Kong, I don't know if that makes a difference rather than, well, we've kind of noticed your cell phone has been on Bangkok or Thailand cell towers exclusively for over 2 years, so now we have a problem. Just keep in mind, have a backup plan. Probably your backup plan is going to be your Thai number, and working with folks overseas on apps like Line and WhatsApp. Unless I'm mistaken, you cannot call somebody, and somebody said I was wrong on this, but I don't think I am. On my Thai, because I asked them at AIS, I asked them, can I switch my Thai phone to Wi-Fi calling and call a U.S. number on Wi-Fi? And they said, no, you can't. You'll have roaming charges and all. You can do that with a Thai phone. In other words, my Thai phone, I can be in the United States, at home on a router, and call somebody online back in Thailand, and that's a free Wi-Fi calling because it's a Thai number to a Thai number. But a Thai number to, in my case, a US number, I would assume a UK, Australian, Canadian, works the same way. It's not the same. So that's what I was told. Again, maybe I'll be corrected in the comments, and maybe I'm wrong. I don't profess to be any kind of expert on any of this. I just do the best I can. I ask the experts, I move forward, and sometimes I get burned with a $29 phone call, and that hasn't happened in 15 years, but it's possible. What I do keep the U.S. phone for is exclusively for Wi-Fi calling back home to U.S. numbers. I don't call anybody in the U.K. or Australia, so maybe it would work the same way, keeping your Australian phone and keeping it on Wi-Fi and contacting folks in Australia with Australian numbers. They don't want to bother with Line or WhatsApp, that kind of thing. You'll have to make that decision. I've been told Google Voice, is it? There's two Google systems. I've been told they have a problem if they start noticing you're overseas for an extended period of time. And this Magic Jack, it's kind of like I don't know, just a little thing, I guess, that kind of works off of Wi-Fi and all. I've been told it doesn't accept the OTPs, the 4-digit authentication from your bank and all, and I get a lot of those. Now, some companies will let you do it through email or through, is it an OTP? Is that what that's called? That little 4-digit code they send you? But, to me, it's just as easy. I'm talking today to IHG Hotels, Intercontinental Hotel Group, and she said, okay, I'm sending you the 4-digit code to your U.S. phone. Maybe they would send it to a Thai phone. I don't know. But it's just as easy for me. It's worth the $50 a month. You'll have to make those decisions. But just have a backup plan. If I was thinking out loud, maybe this is a bad idea. I don't know, because other people have said, well, I moved over to Mint Mobile or one of these more discounted plans in the U.S. It's $6 a month, and I was told it'll work perfect in Thailand. Well, that's true, but I don't know if Mint Mobile is going to start getting upset if, they only see Thai cell towers and no U.S. cell towers. They told me it was like a federal communications rule, kind of a, hey, this is a U.S. phone. If it's not in the U.S. for a certain period of time, it's no longer considered a US phone. No can do. So I don't know. It kind of makes sense. But what I was halfway considering is the next time I go back to the US, I might go pick up another phone number. I know you can't have the same phone number on a T-Mobile plan and whatever it is, a cheaper plan like a Mint Mobile. But get a Mint Mobile, set up a new phone number. If it's even $10 a month, say, here you go. Here's $250, cover me for the next 2 years, and then bring it back to Thailand with me. My T-Mobile is still working, but let's say 6 months later, T-Mobile shuts me off. Well, then I turn on my Mint Mobile that I had off since I was in the US. Again, this might be a dumb idea, but turn it on here in Thailand, and theoretically, you would think my 2 years of hitting, or whatever their limit is going to be, cell towers in Thailand would start from that day. I don't know. That might be worth it to me if it's $7 a month. Sure, $7 a month for a phone that's just turned off and on standby. That would probably be worth it to me. Again, I'll leave that up to you. One other thing you might want to consider in your preparations from moving to beautiful Thailand are your hobbies. What are you going to do over here in retirement? I know most of the people that watch my channel are thinking about retiring and moving over here, and retirement is great. I mean, the first couple, 2-3 months, it's sleeping 12 hours a day if you want to, and partying all night, and I still do all that at times, but you have to have your hobbies in place. This YouTube channel is a big hobby of mine. It takes up a lot of time, and it keeps me busy. It's you gotta keep active. I also scuba dive and things like that. I've had my gear, but whatever, just take the time. I know this is kind of basic information, but take the time to think about what you want to do, or at least think what you may want to do in retirement. Prepare for that by getting that optical scuba mask that's very expensive. Get that in the United States on sale somewhere, or even used on whatever it is, eBay, whatever the case is, rather than going to the dive shop over here with all the very rich people that, Thais that dive in Bangkok and pay top dollar for that type of equipment. Everything is cheaper in the United States. It just is. I've said that before, and sometimes I'll get some comments like, well, hey man, isn't like most of those electronics made in Southeast Asia and all? That might be the case, but if it's the import rules or whatever the case is, your cell phones, your laptops, all of that, if it's not on sale, and it rarely is over here in Thailand, even if it's not on sale in the United States, you're still going to pay 20-25% more here in Thailand, but something is always on sale in the United States. So if you're looking at a top-of-the-line laptop for $2,000 in the US, let's say it's on sale for $1,600, and there's a Costco coupon for another $300. Well, that same laptop over here, $2,200, $2,300. So you do the math on that. I would pick up a new cell phone, pick up a new laptop, and hope they last like they normally do, a couple of years over here before you have to worry about that. But consider your hobbies, consider what you're going to do, and bring as much of that equipment that's not huge. I wouldn't rush off and buy a set of golf clubs. I mentioned it in another video. There's a secondhand store called the Treasure Factory. There's several around town, but the large location is on Sukhumvit Soi 39. Beautiful sets of clubs in there, from 10, 15-year-old TaylorMades and Callaways to equipment that looks like it's a year or two old. Now, they're not stupid. They're on eBay or wherever getting the current prices, but still, half of what new would cost. So yeah, I wouldn't pay the airlines. I don't even know what they charge to ship golf clubs around the world. If, let's say it's $350, I would just pick up a really good set of used clubs here, and don't get too carried away on paying hundreds and hundreds of dollars to bring a mountain bike over here. You can get that same mountain bike here. It might have to be ordered. It might take 3 weeks to get here, and it might cost $200 more than the US, but you're going to pay $200 to the airlines to get it over here. Now, lastly, There are a lot of things online. I appreciate you watching my little YouTube channel, and I try to put out information that has at least worked for me, things I've found out over the years, or don't let this happen to you. Not that what happens to me is going to happen to you, especially at immigration. I mean, there's kind of a running joke over here. You can go into any Thai immigration office, 1 through 10. I can go into the number 1 person, you go to the number 5, and another person goes to the number 10, and we're all going to get different answers, different told to do different things. I mean, I went to immigration one time, and she goes, okay, all your forms appear in order, and it was a package of whatever it is, 25 forms, 15, a stack of things, paper clipped together. And she goes, I want you to sign your name at the bottom of every form. So I'm signing my name on the bottom of every one of these 15 forms, and she's saying, okay, now I need you to do this, go to 19, then 19, take that down over here. As I'm signing my name on all these forms, I'm trying to listen to what she's saying. And the next time I went to immigration, I signed my name on the bottom of every form, just like she told me to. And the guy said, okay, all your paperwork looks in order, but next time don't deface the pages by writing anything at the bottom. So there you go. I mean, she wanted the signatures, and this guy kind of let me slide on why did you write your name down there? Just little things like that. Don't let it put you off. But what I'm getting at is be real careful with YouTube videos when people are, this is exactly how it is, or can you believe this happened to me? Yeah, that might have happened to that guy because he walked in some dirty shorts and flip-flops and a tank top, and they treated him a certain way compared to somebody who walked in with pants and a collared shirt and a portfolio of all their copies and everything. That person is treated with a little bit more respect. They just are. So that is just common sense. Just go into immigration and treat it as a professional operation, not you're stopping by on your way home from the beach. But be careful what you see on YouTube and read, especially on Facebook. Facebook is the worst. I know there are some good people on there, but there are way more people on there that I am almost starting to believe it's fun to them to pass out bad advice, maybe? I don't know. It's almost like, I don't even think this guy's in Thailand, and maybe he's jealous of somebody who is there, and he's purposely passing out bad information, so that guy's going to get tripped up in immigration, or read some things on there. And I read them oftentimes because it's a train wreck. Just be real careful. I mean, there are some smart people on there that are trying to pay back, help other people, but there are some pretty snarky people on there too. Like, what a stupid question, why don't you do a little reading before you ask such a stupid question? So just ignore all that smoke. I mean, there's knuckleheads everywhere in the world, and unfortunately you're going to find most of them on Facebook, YouTube, websites. Now, as far as websites, there are some very good ones that I don't stare at these, but I'm just wasting time. I'll check out Khao-Sod. Is it Khao-Sod English? Khao, which means rice. But this is Khao-Sod. So Khao, S-O-D. Really good website, really good information. I assume it's a guy, does not jump to conclusions. In fact, I know it's a guy. Could very well be a lady, but I think it's an English gentleman. He doesn't jump to conclusions on new proposed rules and all. Like, of course, Facebook and oftentimes YouTube will, like, oh my God, can you believe they're doing this? Thailand's crazy. I'm moving to the Philippines. Forget this. Those guys just drive me crazy. Clickbaity and whatever. Just avoid all that. Check out sites like Khao-Sod. He'll lay it out smooth, kind of well, this is what they're talking about. Let's see what's going to happen. Another gentleman who does that is Tim Newton. I like Tim. TNT, he puts out a daily news, I guess I'll call it it's a YouTube video, but I was going to call it a podcast. But Tim Newton, good information. Again, a very sensible guy. He's funny. He'll say the same thing, like Well, they're talking about this new visa, and people are saying it's going to work this way, and let's wait and see how things are going to happen. Another good guy you might want to check out is Bangkok Pat. Really good YouTube channel. He's a historian, I'll call him. I mean, he'll do taking a look at the Pat Pong area of Bangkok, and it's just a mini documentary. Really good. Retired working for you, Chris Parker. I've been lucky to meet him a couple of times. I said hi to Bangkok Pat. He probably wouldn't remember. That was a couple of years ago at one of Chris's parties. But Chris, I believe, is moving to Koh Samui more full time here recently. In fact, I know he is. I missed his party. I was out of town. He had a going away party, but I'm sure he'll be back in Bangkok, and a real good guy making videos, and he's a good guy to watch. There are plenty of good people. Just shy away from the negative types. I mean, that's just a part of life, but don't let those guys scare you, I guess is what I'm saying. If somebody puts up some kind of title on scammed again in Thailand or whatever, yeah, okay, check it out, but that's just being clickbait. They're just trying to get views, and that's the YouTube business, folks. When people click onto our videos and the little ads play and all, we'll make a penny, or whatever the case might be, and more people are gonna click on a video saying I was scammed again in Thailand, can you believe it, then they are one of my videos that says here's some tips for moving over. So maybe I gotta clickbait up my titles a little, but I'm not planning on doing that anytime soon. So I'll tell you what, if you've made it this far into the video, I wish you all the luck in the world. You're doing your homework, you're doing your due diligence for moving over, but just don't let it drive you crazy. It's not that complicated. You can make every mistake and you're still going to be fine. I mean, you can't make every mistake. I mean, you better understand the basics of arriving into Thailand and staying here legal and all, or they're going to ask you to leave. But just the basics, the little things like prescriptions and all. Sure, you might make a mistake and it costs you an extra $200 a year to fill your prescriptions at the hospital instead of, say, Siam Pharmacy, which is right next to the hospital and a fraction of the cost. And you'll learn all those things as you go. Or you can watch some more sensible channels like mine and some of these others that will maybe help you bypass those little mistakes. So take it easy. Have a great afternoon. And again, I wish everybody the best. Look me up. Shoot me a comment when you get over here. We'll grab a drink and say hello. See you later.